Now that you've heard about classical conditioning and operant conditioning, you're probably wondering what these ideas have to do with education. If you're a teacher and you notice an undesirable student behavior, you can try applied behavioral analysis, or ABA, to change that behavior. ABA is the application of behavioral learning principles to change behavior. In an ideal situation, applied behavioral analysis goes through several steps. First, you want to identify the behavior that you would like to change. What exactly is the student doing that is undesirable? Second, you want to measure that behavior. Take note of when the behavior occurs and what happens before or after that behavior is exhibited. Next, you analyze the antecedents and reinforcers that might be maintaining inappropriate or undesirable behavior. After analysis, you will identify interventions or treatments based on behavioral principles to change that behavior. Finally, you measure the changes and see if the treatment applied worked. In clinical research, the ABAB design is common. First, you take a baseline measurement of the behavior. Then you apply the intervention or the treatment. After a while, you stop the intervention and you see if the behavior goes back to the baseline level. Finally, you reintroduce the intervention. The ABAB design is pretty difficult to follow if you're just a classroom teacher, so a teacher would have to adapt it. Just like the regular ABAB process, you would have to clearly specify the behavior to be changed and the goal. What exactly would you like the student to be doing differently? You would have to carefully observe that student and note their current level of behavior. You would have to plan a specific intervention using antecedents, consequences, or both. Some of the concepts that you learned in the operant conditioning video apply here. Finally, you keep track of the results and you modify the plan if necessary.